Hello, everyone, and welcome to a Christmassy talk with the show in which I bring on guests that I've already been on a talk with to discuss all things Christmas. And I am here with Chelsea Lagan. Introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. I have been here before. I'm Chelsea Lagan, and I'm from Ireland. And I'm a voice actress that works with primarily Overton Audios and also TT Productions 23. And
Brilliant.
I'm dressed like a cow.
Yeah, I mean, from Zoom calls and so forth, that hoodie is iconic from everything really. How are
Yeah,
you?
here, you know what? I'm good. I'm cold. It's very cold right now. It's like -4 where I am. So it's definitely the comfies are needed today. Definitely the comfies are needed today.
Yeah, I mean, at the time of recording this, everyone's been getting snow. Have you been getting snow up where you are?
Yeah, literally. Well, we get more. It's literally just black ice on the roads and a lot of frost, and it's Baltic. Right now, it's literally started snowing like about maybe half an hour ago, so everything's just absolutely covered in a white sheet at the minute. It's nice to look at, but like whenever you're absolutely freezing, it's like nah, get the comfies
Nah,
on, get the
yeah.
fire on.
Yeah, I agree. I love looking at it, but hate going out in it. I mean, for 5 seconds maybe, but any longer, and it's an absolute nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah. So first thing I love to ask people who come on this sub-series for the show is more or less about your achievements throughout the year, whether that be Doctor Who related or personal that you wanted to share. And yeah, so in reflection, what are your kind of achievements that you look back on?
Oh man, like this year has been a very busy year for me, 100%, because we have like literally new releases of Crimson Hunter that came out this year, which everyone seems to like and enjoy, which I'm really proud of because like me and Julia have such a history anyway. Like, and it's like it's crazy how much like I've even got like messages from people being like, just listen to Crimson Hunter, it's really good. And they didn't even a lot of people don't realize how Crimson Hunter is like the beginnings of Julia
Mm.
before she met the Cravat Doctor. And so people have gone from listening to Crimson Hunter going all the way back because I'm on the playlist for Overton Audios. So you can literally go onto the playlist and like literally go through the whole thing. And then with TT, there's just been so much that has come out this year, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Mm.
Like especially like for Beyond British Shores, and then I've started directing this year. So I started directing. I directed R101, which was my first project with TT, and that got a lot of amazing feedback, and I was really proud of it. And for my first directing project as well, it was just like really eye opening and making me want to do it more. And then obviously there's so much, and then obviously Abby Louise, who basically is one of like the runners of TT. She took me under her wing per se and taught me how to edit. So I've edited some Pat and Oster gang bites, which are like, for length of about maybe 10 or so minutes long. But it was like
Yeah.
my first taster of editing. And now I'm doing my my first full on episode, which is the Dickensian Doctor that she has released. I'm doing the second episode for that.
Ah,
And
yes.
it's definitely like I've gotten through about 10 minutes of it. And it's just like, oh, I'm usually finished by this point. And now I'm like, no, I have a lot more to go. But it's really fun, really fun.
Yeah, the episode two is the one with like primarily Overton, people from Overton, really, isn't it? Like James,
Mm-hmm.
Eamon, Connor.
Yeah, there's quite a few. There's quite a few.
Yeah, I mean,
So it's really crazy listening to them, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to make them sound all nice and put everything together.
yeah. No, no, I remember when I was getting into editing and I just threw myself into it. Had no experience
Mm-hmm.
beforehand and kind of just started off with short stuff and then kind of I kind of had like you did it, but thankfully you've got Abby to kind of teach you straight away, which
Oh
is
yeah,
I can
definitely. It's like
imagine a great help.
every 10 minutes, I'm like, Abby, can you listen to this? Does this sound okay?
Mm.
But yeah, and then getting into writing as well. which is something I've never experienced before. So it's just like, this year has definitely been a first for everything. And we've written a series called The Touch that will be coming out in the new year.
Yeah.
We'll be recording in the new year. We've done the read throughs and everything with the cast, and they are utterly brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It's
Yeah.
amazing. And new characters that I've had this year, there's just been so much. Absolutely hectic.
Yeah, I mean, Abby mentioned the touch in her Christmassy talk with, and it sounds great. From what I gathered, it's kind of a group of people get powers within, is it the Victorian age? I assume it's the Victorian
Yeah,
age.
it's
Knowing
based
Abby and
on the
TT.
series. Oh yeah, Abby's just Victorian covered. But yeah, it's based off a series that was released by HBO called The Nevers,
Yeah.
but it never got finished. Never got finished. And Abby had this idea of doing it. And then obviously I'm like, oh, can I have a read? And then I had a read of it and I'm like, oh my God, this would be so good. And then throwing in some ideas and she's like, here, do you want to write it with me? And I was like, yeah, that would be great. So we sat on like Zoom calls and had on the same document. So whilst we edit, the other person can see what we're doing, and we literally
Yeah.
just talk it out. And I swear we got that done literally under 2 weeks. We got
Oh
the four
wow.
episodes done, the first series done, which is absolutely ridiculous whenever we think about it. And we're like, okay, now we have to focus on other projects. And I'm like, there's other projects? What? But yeah, it's
Mm,
honestly, it's gonna be fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
I can't wait. It sounds brilliant. And you mentioned your directing debut. Uh,
Hmm.
Obviously I was part of the cast for R101, which was
Yes, you were.
so emotionally draining, that one.
I
Uh,
would say so. I would say
yeah,
so.
yeah. I mean, what was it like? What was it like directing for the first time? Because I think well, at the moment, I'm kind of at uni and so forth at like screen and film school, and one thing that they do is they kind of throw us into everything at first, and then they give us kind of specialties and going forward.
Hmm.
Uh, and what's it like for you to kind of do everything at the moment? And what's it kind of like? What you What's your kind of favorite role to do out the ones you've done this year? And what would you like to
Oh,
try doing next year?
oh man, that's a big whammy of a question. Um, Directing one. Obviously, it was very nerve-wracking for me. I've never like, apart from doing like stage things, I've never directed, especially a group of people. Like you have like the people there is like, like Dominic G. Martin,
Mm,
you have Chris Walker Thompson, you have people that you voice acted along aside, and then obviously you're like, you have to tell them what to do now. And it's like, ah, it was very, for me, it was just like a lot. It was a
mm,
lot, and it was very nerve-wracking as well, because it was just like, oh my goodness, I'm not used to this whatsoever. But you know what? I am very thankful for the cast that I had, because they made the process like so easy, and they
mm.
made it the most enjoyable I ever had. Like they're the ones that made me want to do it more, because it was just so enjoyable and so fun to do. And yes, I have to admit that, telling people what to do was quite fun. But it's just like, it's nerve-wracking at the same time. Then obviously I directed the first episode of Dickensian.
Yeah.
So doing that, and I worked again with you,
Mhm.
obviously. I worked with you, and then I worked with Matt Lyons again, who is literally such a talented young lad. Really, really talented, and like directing him and just directing others it just makes the experience so much enjoyable. And you didn't get a lot of direction. You kind of knew what you were doing.
I really appreciate the help you gave me nonetheless during that, and I think you're a really good director, and I look forward to
Ah,
seeing what, you know,
thank you.
I look forward to seeing your directed projects in future as well. Uh, so would you say directing is really the role that you kind of, you know, out like directing, writing, editing, and all that? Would you say that's the one you kind of resonated with the most, or?
That is a really good question. Like for me, I have I have a love for all of them. I really do. Like directing is like they're for me they're all different categories and they are
Yeah.
all different categories, but to like obviously voice acting has been like my first and foremost thing, which I just fall in love with it every single time I get a new character or a new script, do recurring characters. And then with I think with directing and editing you have a bit more pressure,
Mm.
which is just like you're directing somebody, you want to make sure that you know they sound good and you don't want to sound bitchy. If you know what I mean, when you just pick up
Yeah,
on little
yeah.
things. And then editing, which is like a big whammy, you're putting things together, making things sound like it's a conversation, even though it is a conversation that's happening. But I don't know. It's kind of like you have different aspects of it, like directing, you have, you know, your script, you know
Mm.
what has to be said, you have to make sure it sounds, you know, like a genuine thing that's happening, the reactions are genuine. And then sometimes like you have to step in and be a monster to have somebody react to you. Um like you kind of have more creative freedom when it comes to
Mm.
editing because you can pick the sounds, you can pick this, but then obviously you have to make sure everything sounds right. I couldn't even pinpoint one thing that I favor out the most, but you know what? I do have to say editing is quite a good challenge. It's a good challenge as well. Can be very stressful. I don't know
Oh
how
yeah,
Abby
yeah.
and Connor do it. I do not know how they do it. It's just like how do you do this all the time? But it's like it's always learning. I'm always constantly learning, and I love a challenge. I love a good like creative drive. I love the challenge that people set for me and everything. Like especially like with the touched, I'm editing the first episode for that,
Yeah.
and it's just like, so you see me like doing a script read and whatever, and I'm taking down notes at the same time because I have to remind myself I'm editing this. And then there's some scenes where you're like, why did I choose to edit this? I don't know. But yeah, it's honestly, it's just always so fun. And that's what TT and Overton always do is make it fun and make it enjoyable. And it's just an amazing experience. It really is. And I love the people. I love the people that I work with. All talented beings, the lot of yous.
I mean, yeah, great answer.
It
Brilliant
was a
answer.
very lengthy answer. It's a very lengthy answer, but
Um,
well,
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
it's a brilliant way of putting it. I think every role has their individual merits. And I mean, speaking
Hmm.
from the perspective of someone who does editing with audios and all that, it can be, it can certainly be something. It can be very
Hmm.
difficult. It's like, no, depending on the audio that you're doing, some can be relatively like short, so it's not too bad.
Hmm.
But it's still really fun, I'd say. On my end, it's well, of course, it's fun because if it wasn't, I wouldn't be doing it. But it can be something that you kind of have to dedicate yourself to because I feel like everything within the creative industry you kind of have to, you know, uh, really just dedicate yourself to. As I know, as
Hmm.
I said, going on to Christmas, as the
Yes.
title of this series suggests, I usually ask people what their favorite Christmas special of Doctor Who is, and I believe Abby mentioned she was showing you some.
Yes.
But if you've not watched enough Christmas specials, of course, alongside that, I'd also like to ask what your favorite Christmas movie is.
Oh man, just put me on the spot there. No, me and Abby watched because everybody knows when it comes to Doctor Who, nah. It's I've only watched like, and this was years ago,
Mm,
was David Tennant and Christopher Eccleston.
mm.
But yeah, Abby showed me Matt Smith. I've never watched Matt Smith. Never watched it, but we watched the episode as the Snowman, and oh, I absolutely loved it. I
Mm.
love it, and obviously I got to see the Green Queen herself, Madame Vastra, and I was like,
That's who
but
she is.
I was like, I know her. Yes, I like that one. And then Strax, and oh geez, the amount of giggles that we did. It was
Mm.
absolutely ridiculous. And me asking stupid questions as well and being like, just, you know, but oh, no, it's a really good episode. I don't even know. As I say, I don't even watch Doctor Who to answer the question. But my favorite Christmas movie. That's a question in itself. Oh, you know what? And I know a lot of people don't say it as a Christmas movie. No, I have two favorite Christmas movies. I love The Nightmare Before Christmas. I
Mhm.
love it. I love it. But here, you know what? You can't go wrong with The Muppets Christmas Carol.
I am so glad
Every
you get that
single
answer because
year,
it's like
every single
I
year,
love that
I
movie.
watch it.
Yeah,
I have to watch it. It's just a tradition now.
I mean
Like
it's just
obviously, a lot of
one of the
people watch,
best.
like Home Alone. My mom particularly watches all the Harry Potter movies. It's a Christmas tradition, but no, it's definitely. No, honestly, I think it is the Muppets Christmas Carol.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean
who doesn't love it?
exactly. I mean it's one of the best Christmas songs of all time. I know it's in my local cinema where I'm at the moment, and I've got to go
Oh
see it.
man.
I've got to go see it. I mean, it's an opportunity you can only really you gotta take. I mean, I spoke to Abby about the Nightmare Before Christmas, and
Hmm.
they classed it as a November film. I mean, because
No,
it's not
but
Halloween, and it's not exactly Christmas either, so November's kind of
Nami, it is literally for me. It's a Christmas movie. It just is. It's class, but you can watch it all year round. But no, the Muppets Christmas Carol.
oh
You're
yeah,
sitting
yeah.
there. You just finished your roast dinner. You're sitting there in front of the fire. You're eating your Christmas pud with custard or cream, whatever you want, and literally you just see lovely Kermit there singing, "Wherever you find love, it feels like Christmas." It's like you gotta love it. And then obviously you cry at Tiny Tim, but that's just a given.
Good old Tiny Tim, yeah. I mean, I was doing like a Christmas Carol for like GCSEs and so forth.
Yeah.
And like they showed us The Muppets Christmas Carol more than any other adaptation of that book because it's the most accurate and it's the best. Like it's genuinely
Oh
best.
man,
And I love that movie so much. It's so wholesome. It's exactly what Christmas needs to be.
I absolutely love it. Oh, it is literally. I think it's definitely like my top Christmas films. It's definitely like one of my top films
Mm,
because literally it's just so like nostalgic to your childhood, and also it's just like a good comfort film. If you have a long day at uni or a long day at work, you stick that on during the winter, then it's just like oh, and obviously the
mm.
tunes.
Yeah, they
I was just like, here, we should make like a TT Christmas Carol, but just sing all the Muppet songs that were on that movie
mm,
because I absolutely love it. I had it
now
on video. I had it on video. This is how, maybe in 23, I know it's just like I had this on like a video cassette at my nana's house and I always put it on at Christmas. Always did.
I think I might have had it on a VHS as well actually. I used
Oh.
to collect VHSs as a
Hmm.
kid. Used to watch all old TV programs and movies and everything on VHSs. I feel like I was born right at the time where they were slightly going out of fashion, but still around.
It's never out of fashion. What are
Never
you
out of
talking
fashion,
about?
but yeah. I imagine they're going to get like very nostalgic about VHSs soon, and they'll start, like vinyl and stuff like that maybe.
Mm.
Yeah. Moving on to the next question. Now, this question's more it is more Doctor Who orientated, but I'm gonna slightly alter it.
Oh, for my
So,
benefit. Thank you.
yeah, because it's usually like, what does Doctor Who at Christmas mean to you? But I'm gonna just say, what does Christmas mean to you, and what memories do you have growing up around Christmas time?
Oh man. There's just so many, like, because last year at Christmas, I had COVID over
Mm,
Christmas. So I was like confined to my room, obviously, because I was in isolation and everything. Everybody was having Christmas dinner downstairs. And I remember um literally getting because of how bad COVID was in general, having like to eat off a plastic plate with a plastic fork because everything, you didn't
mm,
want to contaminate everything and touch everything. And
yeah,
I remember sitting there and I couldn't eat it because my taste and everything was so altered. I just couldn't eat my Christmas dinner and I cried. And my sister knocked on my door and sat on the staircase. So my room is far away from the staircase, and she
yeah.
sat there with me while I tried to eat my Christmas dinner with her because she didn't want me to be alone. So just because of that, it just, it made me have an appreciation for Christmas time and the
Yeah.
time that I spent with my family on Christmas, especially since having COVID and everything, couldn't spend that time with my family. It literally, it does, makes you appreciate everything more. And like Christmas in general is like, obviously the nostalgic, like you're sitting there
Mm.
Christmas Eve, hot chocolate, you have your lovely wee Christmas movies that are on fire going. You have obviously your matching jammies with your family. And it's like waking up on Christmas Day, and obviously because I'm the oldest in my family, it was like, seeing my like wee brother and sister opening up presents and everything, seeing family. It's
Mm.
just is it is literally the time of just, getting together and just, enjoying that day. And
Yeah.
then for me, my Christmas is a bit different than most people's because my mother and father are separated. So I spend Christmas Day with my mum and her family. And then on Boxing Day, it's my Christmas up there with my dad. So it's obviously just me and my dad. So we sit there and we have like our Christmas dinner and everything, spend it with my family up there. So I have Christmas, I have Christmas too, and then I have Boxing Day the day after Boxing Day. So I'm literally like a little plump chicken afterwards. Like I get so much food.
Mm.
But it's good. It's like it's really fun. It's really fun. And then obviously you have a little sip
Of course, of
afterwards.
course, of course, yeah.
But no, it's and I've been doing that for well, I'm 23 now. So I've been doing that setup for about 19 years of my life. It's very different to most, but I wouldn't change it. There's two Christmases, two worths of presents, two Christmas dinners, and Boxing Day dinner after Boxing Day.
I mean, sounds it actually sounds pretty great, really. It sounds like a great setup you've got there. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I really appreciate the comment you made in the opening about taking Christmas for granted. I feel like a lot of
Mm-hmm.
I think a big part of Christmas is about not taking it for granted. I think even like
Mm-hmm.
Christmas movies, like a Muppets Christmas Carol and
Oh
pretty
yeah,
much
of
every
course.
Christmas movie ever is about not taking it for
Mm-hmm.
granted. I mean, um,
Oh yeah, I'd never take Christmas for granted because like especially since COVID, like I never realized how much I missed, the really god awful early mornings, the wains screaming and everything that, yeah, Santa's here, Santa's here. You really, you don't realize how much you actually love it until you just don't experience it that one year of just all the
yeah.
family and everything. And
I mean,
it's definitely, put things into perspective for me as well.
have you
Really did.
has Abby shown you the Dodgy Christmas special last Christmas yet?
I don't think so. The only one we did watch was the snowmen, snow
Well,
people.
I think I think a good quote from that one is that every Christmas is last Christmas, and it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
got that kind of, because I obviously this Christmas for me is very different this year. Uh, it's one that I've been having to get used to with the lost my dad and everything. So it's kind
Mm-hmm.
of it's been very different for me in terms of how I've celebrated this year, and I've loved doing
Yeah.
this kind of podcasty show.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a really fun way of kind of celebrating with people that I know and talking about it and fun really. And yeah, I think that's a huge part of Christmas as well is the fact that taking it not taking it for granted because every Christmas is last Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this year's certainly been a Christmas that I've had to get used to, and I think after after everything that's happened, I don't think I'll ever take Christmas for granted again. And I think
Oh yeah.
one thing that's great about Christmas is that for a lot of time it's a time of reflection as well and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's kind of me getting sidetracked there, but I feel like it's really I think it's really football common to say that you shouldn't take Christmas for granted. I think that's
Mm-hmm. Oh,
it's
100%.
no matter what context there is or anything, never take Christmas for granted. Everyone
That's
listen.
it. That is the message. That is the message for everyone. I
Which
just hope that I don't get COVID this year.
Mm.
That would suck.
Yeah, that would be terrible foreshadowing.
I think I'm just
Um,
going to, just keep myself indoors until Christmas.
yeah, just isolate yourself before
That's it. I'm going to
hopefully not
isolate
having to
myself
isolate
just
yourself.
for Christmas.
And primarily the next questions I usually have are Doctor Who focused. Funnily enough, this is a Doctor Who show. Who could have guessed?
Hooray!
Um, so I'll probably, I think, I'll probably keep it to one or two. So, this one is primarily Doctor Who related, but I think it can reflect upon what's happened this year and what's happened through Overton as well. But what does Doctor Who mean to you?
It gives me my voice acting job. No, like I always watched Doctor Who as a kid, and I remember always collecting the magazines. You used to
Mhm.
get magazines in the shop that you always get, and oh, just like the pictures, the monsters, the enemies and everything.
Yeah,
It's like it's just like, it's like I think for me it was just like, oh, this is like an adult show, if you know what I mean. It was just like, but it's like for kids and all the family can like actually enjoy it.
yeah.
And it's just that like I don't even know how to explain it, but it's like just the adventures that you go on, that the doctor goes on, and you're just watching it all and just like seeing all these different characters, getting to know these characters and everything, and how much of a long running show that it is. Like I remember my mom, whenever I was first watching Doctor Who, my mom asked me, "Oh, what's that you're watching?" "Oh, I'm watching Doctor Who." She's like, "I used to watch that when I was a kid," and then you're like, no, he didn't. He's young and that, and then you honestly, and then you're sitting there and you're like, wait, what? Like,
Mm,
it gets you watching more. And obviously, I collected the DVDs and everything of them. I still have the DVDs, but again, they're primarily David Tennant. But it's just, it is an incredible show.
mm.
Obviously, because everybody loves it for so long that it's still going. You know what I mean? And obviously, David Tennant's coming back, so you never know. The next time we ever do a talk with, I'll probably be more Doctor Who orientated than watching David Tennant.
And I literally just because I've been rewatching it with flatmates and introducing them to the show,
Hmm.
and we just finished the David Tennant era, well, the original, shall we say.
Hmm.
And yeah, we just finished The End of Time where he regenerates. And that is probably it's probably the best acted story, in my opinion, that one.
Hmm.
And they absolutely loved it. They absolutely they love Christopher Eccleston. Uh,
Hmm.
he stood out to a friend of mine who had never watched it before, who is the one I'm mainly introducing to the show. But they absolutely love the David Tennant era, and they can't wait it to for David Tennant to come back. And now we're on the Matt Smith era, uh,
Hmm.
which who knows? Maybe by the next talk with you would watch more of the Matt Smith era as well.
Maybe apart from the snowman, snow people thing. Yeah, I'll
Mm.
probably watch a bit more because Abby will probably get on to me and be like, "Here, you're doing this. I need you to know what this character is." And I'm like, "Okay,
Mhm.
yes, I will watch it."
Yeah. So,
Uh,
and my final question really is something that we've already pretty much covered. But do you have a Christmas message for everyone at home?
don't take Christmas for granted. You know what? Because of everything that has happened these last couple of years, especially with COVID and keeping us all separated, I think, it just, we should tell people just to enjoy like, having the family together, enjoy all the literally the hustle and bustle of Christmas, even though everybody hates it, but just enjoy like that day of Christmas coming together as a family and just enjoying that like blissful feeling that
Yeah.
Christmas brings. And obviously be on the nice list. That is just make sure you're on the nice list. But no, it's definitely just, it's a very nostalgic season, especially with the snow and everything, and you see everybody out in their hats and their scarves and everything. It's literally, it is like a Christmas movie that's happening right now. You're just watching it. Oh, I love it. I think yeah, definitely Christmas and Halloween is definitely like my favorite events of the year. But Christmas, I think this year is definitely going to top that list for me anyway, especially better than last year.
Yeah, well, anything can be better than last year for you. Uh,
Uh-huh, exactly. Anything,
yeah, well,
anything.
thanks for coming back on the show, and thanks for joining me today. It's been a pleasure talking to you again.
Oh, no
Uh,
problem. I absolutely loved it again. I really enjoy these, really do.
yeah, I mean they're really fun to do, and I love doing these short ones as well. I feel like
Hmm.
it's just great fun. And if you have anything to promote, go ahead now, and I'll put it in the comments and the description.
Everybody, watch TT Productions and Overton Audios. Like honestly, they have like I've seen the lists of both of these, both of what's happening coming up to the new year.
Mm,
So really definitely check them out because they have amazing stuff going on. They really do. And honestly, they don't get enough credit for it. And
very
definitely
true.
just check it all out. Check it out. Check them all out. Like just everybody, their different characters that they've made, the different doctors, they all like honestly just go and watch it. Incredible people and incredible
Absolutely
stories.
brilliant. Genuinely, absolutely brilliant and brilliant channels, and they put so much work into what they do, and I can't
They
recommend them enough.
do. They really do. And they just love it. You can tell that they love it just by the drive and the passion that they have for all the characters. But definitely give them a little listen. The
Yeah,
cow
well,
has spoken. Give them a listen.
what a final note to end this on. Thanks for watching, everyone. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like. I've got Kofi in the description, which I've got to reset up because difficulties with my debit card. But once that's done, feel free to donate only if you can. Merry Christmas, everyone, and I will
Merry
see you in the
Christmas.
next one. Bye.